Welcome to the Brew Crew Review Podcast, the show by fans for fans of your Milwaukee Brewers.
All right, Brewer fans, welcome to the Brew Crew Review Podcast. Thanks for joining us, myself, Craig, and Vince. How are you doing, Vince?
I'm doing fine, Craig. How are you?
All right. The Milwaukee Brewers have been having a great month of June so far. And yeah, have gotten themselves into the wild card mix and 2 games out of the first in the NL Central. And a large part of that has been of course, you were able to witness there live at, of course, AmFam Field, the debut of Jacob Misiorowski. And he has since then defeated Paul Skeens in a highly anticipated matchup here in Milwaukee as well. And again, I just want to start by saying that I think that's part of our success here, and also our bats are finally coming around up and down the lineup. But yeah, I guess I want to start by saying how proud I am of Milwaukee as a baseball city for actually selling out the Misiorowski versus Skeens matchup on a Wednesday afternoon. Granted, it is summertime here, but I still thought that was quite the accomplishment. It really speaks to how great of a baseball town Milwaukee truly is.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome, Craig. Did you actually get to the game yourself?
No, fortunately.
I was kicking myself because we left town after we had to be at a family event, and we left town that day. So we actually flew over the ballpark as the game was happening, and I was pretty upset that I wasn't there, to be totally frank. But yeah, pretty impressive. Kudos to Milwaukee. Kudos to the state of Wisconsin for being such great and diligent baseball fans. I really do believe that Milwaukee is a baseball city through and through, and it's shown that time and time again throughout the history of the city. And the Brewers are actually off today as we tape this here on Monday the 30th. So we do officially know that the Brewers' record in June was 16-9 since tomorrow starts a new month. So pretty impressive record for the Brewers in June.
Yeah. So again, this team, it all comes down to the pitching. The pitching has just been phenomenal. I mean, the fact that we've gotten literally nothing yet from some guys that we thought were going to be huge contributors for us this season, and like possibly Brandon Woodruff and Nestor Cortez, who are both out on rehab assignments finally. But the trade,
but who've only pitched a total of 2 games collectively with the team so far this year.
Yeah. And I mean, everyone else stepping up. Chad Patrick has pitched pretty phenomenally just out of nowhere. I mean, he's this year's version of Tobias Myers. I don't even know. This last year's version of Tobias Myers is just AOL and no one cares, it seems. No, actually he's in the minor leagues pitching fairly decently. But I mean, and the bottom line is Quinn Priester trade really seems like it's working out in our favor. He pitched one heck of a game. 7 innings pitched, 11 strikeouts, I think 1 hit. Was it? Or was it not?
Yeah, he gave up in yesterday's loss to the Rockies. Yeah, he pitched outstanding.
Oh, yeah, no. Quinn Priester, I think, might have been the Saturdays. Let me just quick pull up his line. Scott's interns gave me.
He gave up 1 hit. Yeah, Priester gave up
his line. Hit. Yeah, his line from Saturday was 7 innings pitched, 1 hit, 2 walks, 11 Ks. So quite the start for. But I mean, just overall, he's been great since we acquired him. From the Red Sox, and well, really well. So I mean, all this is leading part of our success. Other guys are really turning it around. The bottom of the order, in particular, I know everyone's finally like, "Oh, Joey Ortiz," right when they were about to be done with the guy. He's still a wizard defensively, and his bat's coming around a little bit. Caleb Durbin, it looks like he's been on a little bit of a hitting tear lately as well. So I think seeing the bottom of the order pick up the slack here has really and again, throughout all this, Jackson Churio still has not had that great of a first half. Granted, he's got like 12 home runs and 13 steals, but he has not been taking walks. He's not been getting on base. I really feel that he could have, just like last year, a monster second half in his arsenal for this year, and that could be a huge shot in the arm of the Brewers, just like it was last season.
Yeah, it could certainly happen. I mean, Churio's got all the talent in the world as we've seen him show in spurts. We've, I think just kind of count on him to the point where it still is hard to believe that the kid is only 21 years old. So, when we're talking about Jackson Churio, we really have to do a better job. I think all of us in the media have to do a better job keeping that in mind. That he's such a young kid still. So, most 21-year-olds are in double A or triple A, and he's in a second big league season playing every single day. So I really think that we need to kind of put things in perspective with him. And I think that when you do that, you're going to see not only his talent level, but the fact that he's where he's at already is pretty incredible. And I know we mentioned this in our podcast last year a couple of times, but when you look back at Robin Yount's statistics over the course of his first couple seasons in the big leagues, they Jackson Trio stacking right up next to a guy like that. So I don't say that to make any comparisons with a Hall of Famer. That's completely unfair to Jackson Trio, but I also think it does bear in mind that it takes time, and these guys do continue to develop and to mature as they're in their young 20s, especially. And I certainly don't think that we've seen Jackson Trio's best seasons yet, and he's already given us a 2020 year, and he's already on pace for another one right now.
Yep. So, now looking at the Brewers here as we approach the All-Star break. Oh, one little piece of news I wanted to share with our guests is former Milwaukee Brewer and Hall of Famer Dave Parker unfortunately passed away the other day.
Yeah.
And I know he was a member of the 1990 Milwaukee Brewers. And I don't know if you have anything to say about Dave Parker as a Milwaukee Brewer.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Dave, he obviously had a long and storied big league career, a 19-year career total, and only one of those seasons was spent in Milwaukee. But, I can attest just as a kid during that season, it's the year that I especially loved, as we talked about, Craig, in our pre-production meeting. I think it was mostly my age more than anything, but Dave Parker was such a big part of that team in 1990. It wasn't even a great team or anything like that, but it was just kind of my age. I just really loved that team, and they had some really big stars on that team with obviously Yount and Molitor, but also guys like Gary Sheffield and Dave Parker, and there were Greg Vaughn was on that team, just a ton of guys that I think were really personable and interesting and as ball players. And during his lone season in Milwaukee, Dave was not only an All-Star, he won a Silver Slugger Award. He was the team's MVP as our local writers chapter votes on every year. So he really did contribute a ton to Milwaukee just in his lone season. We also ended up getting Dante Bichette for him. So I think that his impact was felt in the clubhouse probably far beyond just that season as well. And I saw on social media some of his ex-teammates talking about him. One of the ones that actually tagged us was Mark Knutson, and he was talking about what Dave did in that clubhouse and just how big of an impact he had. And he even tagged us and Dan Plesac and Don August, and everybody agreed, just kind of talking about what an outsized personality Dave had and what a tremendous influence he had on that Brewers team with a lot of good, young, talented guys. So I know that the baseball world generally is going to miss Dave, but I think the Brewers fans should also take a moment and think about Dave and his career and what he did do in Milwaukee. And on a very personal level, I will just say I had a great memory of him like swinging that sledgehammer in the on deck circle. I just remember that as a kid very distinctly. And there was this piece of litter. The other one is there was this piece of litter that was blowing around, and Dave was batting, and it was like Dave took there wasn't a pitch clock obviously back in 1990, and Dave stopped what he was doing in the batter's box, went and picked up the piece of litter and put it in his back pocket, and for whatever reason the crowd gave him like a huge ovation. It was just a very funny moment that I just happened to remember as a kid. So couldn't tell you much else about that game, but I do remember Dave Parker and just sort of that big personality that he had both on and off the field.
Yeah, I think that phrase really just sums up Dave Parker. Big personality. I mean, big guy, big smile, and just he was kind of like one of those larger than life personalities, almost like a caricature or cartoon figure in some ways, especially to a
Yeah,
Younger kid. It was just hard to
yeah,
believe that the guy existed in the baseball field, but he was definitely a legend. And it's cool that he's part of the Milwaukee Brewers history. So, speaking of that history, I would like to congratulate the fact that we have now known each other and been friends for 25 seasons, Vince, you and I.
and
And the reason I
yeah,
know that, and not that I count
yeah,
years, I don't necessarily always count my friendships with people as seasons, but I do with you because the Brewers are going to be celebrating 25 seasons at Miller Park slash AmFam Field coming up this July
Yep.
5th with a cool. They're bringing back one player from every team, 2021 through 2025, that has been part of every season of the Brewers here at AmFam Field. And of course, we were part of the original one. I'm not sure if they picked us to come back, but yeah, a lot of great names are going to be on this list, obviously. So hopefully fans can get out there. They're going to actually have a post-game home run derby that's going to feature a lot of former Brewers, including Ryan Braun, Carlos Gomez, Prince Fielder, Giovanni Gerardo, Bill Hall, Corey Hart, Casey McGee, Nigel Morgan, Eric Thames, and
Keon
yeah,
Broxton. I saw Keon's going to be there.
yep, yep. And Ed Cedar is going to be pitching to all of them during the home run derby. So he's also a Brewers legend from this era. And so yeah, pretty exciting times. And so I'm hoping that I'm making special plans to make sure to get out to that celebration definitely, and to have my son Jonathan be part of that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we're planning on it. So I think I'm going to wear my yellow construction hat that Val gave us the first day that we were actually allowed to go into the ticket office in Miller Park, because I know that when we first met Craig, along with Scott and Chad and probably Scott's interns that day as well, they were kind of following him around like groupies, if I recall correctly. And but we were working in a trailer, but the first day that we actually got to go into Miller Park in the ticket office, there was pretty exciting. So we all have these, I don't know if you still have yours, but I have my hard hat still. And
I
I thought
do,
that'd be
I
kind of a
do.
fun, cool thing, actually. So I do have that hard hat. It's located in my parents' basement. I've never actually removed it from there.
It
And
is
it's
also
always
in my
kind of,
parents' basement, so we're gonna have to retrieve
yeah,
those.
yeah. I need to get that. My dad has it like up on his wall or something, like in some baseball display type of thing. So I need to get that down, and because that is mine. So I do need to officially claim that. But I'm excited to maybe wear that. If any game was appropriate, it would be that game.
Absolutely. I'm glad you thought of that. Now, hopefully I can, yeah, be there along with you with, and I'll be able to find you in the stadium because I don't think anyone else will be wearing one of these hats.
Well, there, you know, who might be is our anonymous source, Tom Carter, because he was working there as well. I know
Wow.
Tom is known now for giving us information and for telling us, you know, things and getting some kind of scoops and letting us know that information. But he was also working there for the team that season.
Yeah, including a lot of former Broker Review, our Broker Review team as well. Yeah, so maybe Scott and Chad. This sounds like a great time for a
Yeah,
reunion, maybe. So yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
I got my plane ticket already. We're gonna be there.
And yeah, I think we should make a trip up to the press box and say hi to Lorraine, who's still there as well. So, um,
Yep.
absolutely. So, all right. Well, another thing I want to congratulate 18-year-old Jesus Mate, who apparently um, was not even close to being born yet when the stadium opened. But anyway, he's been
Man.
he's been selected as part of the futures game coming up here for the All-Star break. The All-Star selections, I think the voting is kind of wrapping up soon, but those have not been announced yet. What are your predictions on what brewer or brewers will make the All-Star team this year, Vince?
My guess is it's going to be kind of your typical cast of characters. My official prediction is going to be two guys that are former All Stars as well. I'm going to say Freddie Peralta will get the All Star nod. I think that he's kind of a slam dunk pick, just the way that he's pitched so far in the first half. Certainly represents the Brewers well when he's there. And then Christian Yelich, I think, is going to get it as well. Christian, you know, he started off the year pretty slow, but he has been incredible the last month. Certainly hitting like the Christian Yelich of old. I think that his overall numbers are still a little down compared to last year, but um, you know, I think that just given his recent hot streak and the fact that it's Christian Yelich and he's got that reputation around baseball, I think it's going to end up being Christian Yelich and Freddie Peralta.
Those are good guesses. I'm going to go with, just to be different, I'll pick two brewers that are more young up and comers, so to speak, that are having kind of semi breakout seasons. I'm going to go with Sal Frelick, who's hitting 300, which I looked as the 13th in all of MLB and Major League Baseball right now, 13th best batting average. And for the pitching side, I'm actually going to go with Abner Uribe from our bullpen. He actually
Yeah,
leads the majors with 22 holds. So.
Yeah, I think that if I were to go purely based on numbers and purely based on guys who probably deserve it the most, I would include probably Peralta and those two guys. I think you could even make an argument for Bryce Terang given his defense, but I just think that the way that the guys get selected, it's going to be more of a bigger names popularity contest, that type of thing. So I'm gonna stick with my Peralta and yeah, Yelich pick.
Yeah, no, I think those are the safer betting picks. I would assume for sure, just because yeah, they're known commodities, and they're kind of our current franchise slash players here for on the hitting and pitching side of things. So it does make sense that those are our star
Yeah,
players. Um, yeah, so that's exciting to look forward to. I think it's Atlanta's hosting the All-Star game this year, right?
they are
Yeah.
indeed. They were. It was taken away a few years ago for some political reasons, and it was reawarded to them. So yeah, they're playing in Atlanta this season.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, looking forward to the All-Star game. And again, the Brewers, after that, of course, we're a couple of weeks out from the MLB trade deadline. So that's a great time to tune into the Brew Crew Review podcast as we'll go over possible names. The Brewers, I think, have solidly put themselves as buyers in this market. Um, a couple of pieces of news I think will affect, what we'll be buying, so to speak. And I think this unfortunate piece of news that Garrett Mitchell has come down with a dislocated shoulder leads me to believe that the Brewers could be on the market even for, believe it or not, possibly a bat and specifically some outfield depth. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm not opposed. I think that that's probably a wise choice to make. We right now, respectfully, we've got Isaac Collins and Daz Cameron in our outfield, and actually, I think Isaac Collins has played incredibly well this season, and nobody really expected that. I think that Daz Cameron is, if I had to guess, probably going to be DFA'd in the next couple of days. With the Brewers, do need to make some roster moves coming up. I think that you're going to see with Woodruff's activation. Unfortunately, I think you're going to see Chad Patrick sent back to AAA. I do think you're going to have to clear a 40-man roster spot as well soon. I have a feeling that Daz Cameron and Andrew Monasterio's days with the Brewers might be numbered. There are some rumors from some of our colleagues online that Anthony Seigler is going to be called up from AAA Nashville in time for tomorrow's game against the Mets. So we shall see if that happens, and we're working on confirming that. I know that Scott is diligently working on tracking down the lead on that story.
All right, good. And then really hoping for Nestor Cortez's rehab starts here coming up to go well, and so hopefully he can rejoin the rotation or the major league team at least somewhat between the All-Star game and the trade deadline. Now obviously he was a major piece that we got in the Devin Williams trade along with Caleb Durbin. If he comes back, assuming Woodruff is back as well, who else would you possibly remove from the rotation? I mean, Jose Quintana has been obviously having a great season for us. Quinn Priester has now been part of that. Um, I just don't know who would. I mean, it's a good problem to have. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, what do you think How
Yeah,
do you think the Brewers will navigate? Do you think they'll actually look to possibly trade someone like Quintana or Cortez if he once he shows he's healthy, or just stick with the depth and send whoever we can down to the minor leagues, even if it's unwarranted?
personally, I'd probably move Cortez into that bullpen role. That's kind of what the Yankees did with him for a while last season as well, even though he's got a track record of success as a starter. And maybe that would help him to build back some arm strength. I know he's a free agent after this season. I know he probably would prefer to go into free agency as a starter, and I know that he's talented enough to be a starting pitcher. But personally, if I'm putting the interest of the team first and trying to limit wear on his, already hurt once arm this season, I'd put him in the bullpen, which would be kind of weird because we've already got both Ashby and Hall as lefties in the pen. So even that creates, a bit of a backlog there too. So I wouldn't hesitate to look to trade him. I just don't know what kind of value that he's got on the market right now. He's, coming off of an injury that's allowed him to miss like 3 months of the season. So I'm not really sure what kind of trade value he's got. So, with him being a free agent, it's not like you're finding a team that's going to invest in him in the long term. So I don't know. I'm not really sure what the Brewers are going to end up doing. I think that if I had my druthers, I'd probably look to put Cortez in the bullpen though. And I do think that they're going to keep Priester up. I don't think that they want to burn an option on him this season.
Okay. Yeah, it'll be tough to see. Like, I guess we'll see. Like, having Woodruff and Cortez back in rotation for sure and healthy is not a guaranteed thing, knock on wood right now. But I mean, it's trending in that direction. Um, but we'll see. My guess is that they'll somehow navigate the roster construction in a sly way. And like you said, Patrick most likely will get sent down. It's already kind of been hinted at. I think that they probably wouldn't be 100% opposed on using an option on Priester in spite of his ridiculous talents they've shown so far. But if he's pitching like he was his last weekend, 7 innings pitched, 1 hit, and 11 strikeouts, I just don't think you can justify sending that guy to the minor league. So, but with that being said, I guess we'll find out. Like you said, that those are your guesses are probably as good as mine. So we'll see. It's like I said, it's a good problem to have when a lot of the other teams that are competing for wild card spots and division titles are probably going to be on the hunt for starting pitching. And we've got, I shouldn't say we have it in spades, but we have some nice depth, and that's how we've been able to getting through all these injuries up to this point in the season to be where we are in the standings. I mean, it just again harkens back to the culture that's been created by front office, top to down, and most notably, of course, our manager, Pat Murphy. I mean, all kudos to him as well. So last year's NL Manager of the Year, of course, is showing why he earned that accolade. So, all right, well, I guess that's if you haven't gotten out to AmFam Field, Brewer fans and Brew Review podcast listeners, make sure to get out there. It's a lot of fun, great atmosphere. This is a great group of young guys, especially to root for. And again, I just can't. This is a great time to be a Milwaukee Brewer fan. That's all I have to say. We have a great farm system, a great young core on the
Yeah.
team. If you see Jacob Mizorowski scheduled to start a home game, if you're not making your way out there, I'm not sure, why you wouldn't be at this time. I'm certainly hoping to get out there to see him his next time he pitch. I think if he lines up next, again, anything can happen, but I think he might start against the Dodgers on Monday, July 7th. I'm hoping to get out to that game if that's the case. But anyway, yeah, the Miz is here, and he just beat Paul Skeens, and I think the best case scenario that we were hoping for with Jacob Mizorowski looks like it's trending in that direction, and that's very exciting. He literally has the upside of the best starting pitcher to draft and develop in Milwaukee Brewers history. Obviously, no pressure kid, but
Yeah, that's a pretty big title. I know Brandon doesn't like him, but still, I am pretty excited about the Miz. So yeah, it's been really fun. I don't want to put those labels on him quite yet, just because you don't want that pressure to get to him. He doesn't seem like the type of kid that really is affected by that. But at the same time, let's let this kid just develop and have fun, and use his talent and his clear intelligence to continue to hone his craft. And it's a lot of fun to watch.
absolutely. So. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for the Brew Review podcast this week. Again, thanks for tuning in and listening. Again, Vince, thanks for your time today.
Yeah, you too, Craig. And just a reminder to our listeners, please give us a follow. Brew Review 1 is our Twitter or X handle. Send any questions that you have to Scott and his interns team, Brew Review Podcast with an S at gmail.com. I just wanted to thank Chad and Scotty and Vikram for all their hard work on the episode this week.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, guys. And all right, let's stay classy, Wisconsin, and go Brewers.
Hey, thanks, Craig. Go Brewers. Do, 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 do.